Good morning. Wonderful to see you all. How exciting. So it's time to get things started. I'm Julie Shah. I'm the department head of Aeronautics and Astronautics here at MIT, and I'm delighted to welcome you to Space Tech 2026. This is a very exciting moment to be holding Space Tech, a very exciting moment in space exploration. Artemis 2 is underway. I watched with my children last night the incredible images from the far side of the moon. And the 4 astronauts, 248, 655 miles away from Earth, the furthest away from our home planet any humans have ever been. Incredible. It's an extraordinary feat of engineering, of collaboration, and one of many examples of the groundbreaking work happening in the space industry today. And the people in this room are, in many, many ways, the very heart of this work. And so today, it's a wonderful celebration of MIT's unique role in the space innovation ecosystem. And this is a theme that emerged as a part of our strategic planning effort. We've had so many wonderful conversations with many of you here, our alum, industry leaders, that emphasized how vital MIT and our department is in producing aerospace engineers that bring this kind of bold vision, creative problem solving, and innovative thinking to the space industry. And so we continue our work here today with new ways to collaborate, to share and celebrate our past, and to look for the new pathways forward. We have a really exceptional agenda lined up, and we have an amazing MC. We have Professor David Mindell. He's an engineer, a historian, a startup founder himself. He's spent over 30 years at the forefront of the aerospace industry and is a scholar of innovation. He's author of the award-winning book, The New Lunar Society, which expertly applies the lessons of the last industrial revolution to the current boom in aerospace and engineering-driven innovation. And so with that, I'll pass it off to David. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. I'll be your MC today, but Julie also asked me to say a few words of introduction, which may end up being a bit of an invocation. As she mentioned, it's such an exciting time in space. Everyone here, I'm sure, is a mutual space geek, and we follow things. And I've been teaching a class in entrepreneurship in aerospace. And part of that class is always we sort of follow what's in the news. And there's been big news, pretty much every week, if not every day, for the last couple of months in both human spaceflight and the space industry in general. Obviously, Artemis is going on today as we speak, and the SpaceX IPO coming up this spring is also a big deal and kind of puts the icing on the cake of the influence that SpaceX and many of its alumni have had, and we're beginning to see really interesting startups in a lot of different spaces, in a lot of different industries, bringing the techniques that young people learned working at Starlink into other areas. And I'll just give you one example, which is one of my favorites. Commonwealth Fusion Systems, which is an MIT spinoff out here in Devens, broke the record for raising venture capital in Massachusetts by a factor of 10 in 1 year a couple of years ago. And Bob Mumgard, who leads that company, actually took the Apollo class that Larry Young and Jeff Hoffman and I teach, and told me, he took it 10 years ago. He said, and I've always said we don't teach that class to celebrate the past. We teach that class to learn about how to do big projects. And Bob said, I took the Apollo class and I realized you can do big projects. They don't all have to be late and over budget, and they can accomplish big things. And I thought that was an amazing compliment. But he also says, all our purchasing people at Commonwealth are from SpaceX. And man, those people can get things out of industry and vendors that I've never seen anybody do. So one of the themes of the entrepreneurship class is also the pervasiveness of space engineering, aerospace engineering in general, techniques, technologies in so many other aspects of technology, manufacturing, even consumer technology, way beyond the kind of 60s model of spin-offs like Tang. But I would also add, just as a little bit of a caveat, another event from the last couple months was the reclassification of the Starliner incident as a Class A mishap, which basically means we should consider it a fatal accident, and folks only survived because there was one missing hole in the Swiss cheese, and it was just dumb luck. And I had a student do a dissertation a couple of years ago, 10 years ago, about the 3 US fatal human spaceflight accidents, which were all about 17 to 19 years apart. And we're past that from Columbia, but it's still always a good cautionary tale. I do think that NASA has vastly improved the safety protocols and internalized many of these lessons, but I recommend that you all read that mishap report. It is eye-opening and important to think about. Lastly, as Julie mentioned, I wrote a new book called The Lunar Society, which is not about space exploration, it's about industrial development. But it is about a group that called themselves the Lunar Society in the 1740s in Birmingham, England, because they met under the light of the full moon to talk about science and the application of science to industry. And that group included Matthew Boulton, and through that group he met James Watt, who became his business partner, and together they commercialized the steam engine, applied it to industrial production, and created the Industrial Revolution. Ben Franklin was part of that group, so was Joseph Priestley. And the book is, again, not a celebration of the past, but asking questions about what we can learn from those innovators, not least that innovation is not a moment or a single invention, but I think as we'll see today, and Dave Miller embodies, it's a layering of generations of people who work together and build on each other's work and build with each other and collaborate and take things in new directions. So I thought, just walking over here, it occurred to me I should read the final paragraph of the book, The Lunar Society, although I thought maybe I had the month wrong. I thought this conference was in April and not in February. But there's an old saying that it's not spring in New England until it snows in April. So now that it's snowing, it's spring. As I was putting the finishing touches on this book in 2024, a total lunar eclipse captured the attention of America. I watched with old friends on a farm in rural Vermont. Julie and her family were not far away. The roads of New England were clogged with traffic as millions of people traveled to the path of totality to catch a glimpse of the shadow. All of us were struck by the sense of unity and wonder that accompanied the collective view, standing on a celestial body, gazing out at our nearest neighbor. That eclipse suggests that the very phrase lunar society aptly describes the world we are building toward. A lunar society looks outward from the legacy of Apollo to future explorations. The gaze sees the solar aura around the moon, or reflections of thousands of years of human mythology and aspiration, full of mystery but pockmarked by the heavy bombardment. A face of light against a dark background, embodying natural cycles. Hopefully, as it did for James Watt and Matthew Boulton, that light will guide our way home.